So round 2 of the AFL season concluded last night. So I just thought I'd give my quick thoughts on the round that was. So starting off, we had Carlton versus the Western Bulldogs, and Carlton getting up by 12 points. An incredible performance. Carlton's midfield looks incredible with the addition of George Hewitt. He had 32 touches and 7 clearances. Matthew Kennedy's in the form of his life. And the big story obviously being that Patrick Cripps is back to his best form. I think he kicked another couple of goals and had a hell of a lot of clearances as well in possessions. And he's looking back to his best. So when Adam Chera's in there as well, along with Sam Walsh, who did play against the Bulldogs, Carlton are going to be a scary proposition to face. Then on Friday night we had Geelong versus the Sydney Swans. Obviously the big story being that Buddy Franklin kicked his 1,000th goal. Him doing that has made me realise just how historically I've underrated how good Buddy Franklin actually is. I think he's only the 6th player to kick 1,000 goals, and it's never going to happen again in my lifetime with how the way the game is played. I just realised he kicked 100 goals in 2008, and he's still been an elite key forward, up until now. So he's been an elite player for over 15 years. So obviously congratulations to him. And he'll continue to do it for a while. He looked amazing. He kicked 4 goals against a very good Geelong defence. As a Cats fan, which I am, there were positives, I think, to take away from the game. Brad Close is the biggest one. He looked really good. I think he had 18 touches and 4 goals. And you're getting bigger contributions from players like Jed Hughes and Zach Guthrie, which is good to see. And it's going to be pretty rare that Dangerfield and Hawkins are as quiet as they were. Then we had Collingwood versus Adelaide. Didn't really see that much of that game. But I did see that Patrick Lipinski had a good game, which is obviously good to see. He's been one of the better recruits of the year so far. Then we had the Brisbane-Essendon game. Not much you can do if you're Essendon, and Lachie Neale's getting 40-odd possessions, 12 clearances and 2 goals. So obviously Brisbane got up in that one. Then we had the big upset, which was Hawthorn getting up over Port. Who would have thought that Hawthorn were going to be 2-0, at the start of the year, and Port would be 0-2. So yeah, that's a big shock, and hopefully for Port that they're able to turn it around. So now, who would have thought in round 3 that Hawthorn-Carlton would be an interesting game? But yeah, it's certainly shaping up to be one of the games of the rounds next week. Then we had Gold Coast versus Melbourne. Christian Petrarca had another 40 touches, so he's making his claim to be the best player in the league at the moment. And Jake Bowie had 34 disposals, and 18 of them were intercepts. So that is incredible. I think in his first 9 games, he's had 2 Rising Star nominations, and he's won a premiership. So hopefully for him, how good his career goes, continues for him. He's been in ripper form so far. Then we had the North Melbourne West Coast game. It's a shame what's happening to West Coast. They had to make 14 changes. One of those was in the warm-ups because I think it was Jackson Nelson went down. And they were able to stay within, pretty much 3 goals, which is an incredible effort by them. Nick Larkey kicked 6 goals. That was a really good performance by him. I think he finished with 6 goals, 3 for the day. So yeah, that's a really good performance by him. Richmond getting up over the Giants in in Callum Ward's 250th game. What a player he has been for a long time. But it's a really good sign for Richmond if they're able to get up and win. Without Dustin Martin, hopefully he can return to the field of play soon. But obviously, Dusty as a man and him, feeling at his best is obviously more important than him as a footballer. So yeah, hopefully he can come back when he's ready. But that, as I said, that's an incredible win. Jaden Short's playing some ripper footy at the minute. He had 33 touches. Was able to catch glimpses of that game. And then the last game of the round was St Kilda versus Fremantle. So happy for Jack Higgins that he kicked 4 goals. A lot of people were potting him, because of didn't have his best game against Collingwood in round 1. But him kicking 4 goals is great to see. He played really well. Max King as well, getting 4 goals. So that's good as well. Obviously his kicking, for goals being a bit of a talking point. But yeah, he was able to get 4 against the Dockers. So, so the Saints getting a win up in the West is pretty rare for them. I think it was their first win, or basically they'd only won 1 in like 15 tries over in the West. And stupidly, I thought they had a good record in the West, so that's why I tipped them. good that I showed that I didn't really know much about that in the end. Yeah, it was a great round of footy. Looking forward to round 3.